Now, our second report on new superintendents trying to fix broken school systems. Last night, the NewsHour special correspondent for education, John Merrow, reported on the Washington, D.C. situation. Tonight, it's New Orleans.
This is New Orleans, just 2 years after Hurricane Katrina and the subsequent flooding devastated the city and its school system.
If you set the bar high, the higher you set it, the higher the children are going to perform.
Presiding over this emerging sense of optimism is Paul Vallas, the new superintendent of schools.
So, you want to become a civil rights leader, become a teacher. You want to get involved in the greatest chapter in the American civil rights movement, dedicate yourself to the education of our young people.
New Orleans has become a magnet for idealistic educators. This year, the district has hired about 500 new teachers from around the country.
God knows we got the superior teachers, do we not?
Among the new teachers listening to their new leader were Jake Kuhnlein and Katie Amundsen of Rob Wayne High School.
I love the energy of today. I love the fact that everybody is really, really positive about what we can do in New Orleans.
What he brings is high expectations, of course, but also a sense of urgency. You can hear it in his voice.
Paul Vallas comes to New Orleans after running 2 large city school systems. Chicago with 414,000 students, and Philadelphia with 172,000. Even before Katrina, New Orleans had only 62,000 students.
I think I've had a pretty good track record of success, and I think given the fact that this district is much smaller, I'm confident that we can transform this system.
In Chicago and Philadelphia, Vallas is credited with raising test scores and standardizing the curriculum.
I think he's been a real asset to urban public education around the country.
Mike Casserly's organization represents the largest school districts in the country. He urged Vallas to take the New Orleans job.
Frankly, I was thrilled that somebody of his caliber, his energy, his intelligence, and his ability to marshal resources from around the country would take a job in a system that has as many challenges as that one does.
Paul Pastorak, Louisiana's new state superintendent of education, hired Vallas to run what is called the Recovery School District, made up of 26 charter and 34 traditionally run schools. The state controls these schools, not the city.
Reason why Paul Vallas is here is because he is employing a Peace Corps-like mentality. He doesn't need to be here. He could go off and do something that's much more financially lucrative, but I think he fundamentally wanted to come here so that he could do good.
Vallas has his detractors. Some feel he left Philadelphia in a shaky financial condition. Others wonder about a non-New Orleans native coming in to lead a community that is skeptical of outsiders.
This community sort of treats outsiders like antibodies and rejects them at will. And so one of the reasons why Paul was a particularly attractive candidate is because he's really quite capable of engaging with the local community.
Is there a concern that he'll be perceived as the knight on the white horse riding in to save New Orleans?
I had a number of concerns about Paul coming to the community. Knight on a white horse is one of those. A white knight on a white horse was another.
The African-American community wants a superintendent who cares, who's committed, who's willing to work hard, and who's willing to immerse himself into the community. And if you're willing to do that, the community doesn't care if you're white, black, what's the old Chinese proverb? It doesn't matter whether or not the white cat is white or black, but whether or not it can catch mice.
Paul Vallas faces huge challenges. In many ways, the schools are academically bankrupt. On one state test, 80% of high school students scored below basic in math, 88% below basic in English. The vast majority of students live in poverty. Many arrive at school hungry. And New Orleans itself is still struggling to recover. Schools around the district were in various states of disrepair. Some were so badly damaged in the storm that they may never reopen. Repairs on schools that could be salvaged were often moving slowly, meaning that students and teachers will spend at least part of the year in alternative facilities. Despite all these problems, Vallas is upbeat.
You know, I think we can start seeing results within the next year or so. I mean, I'm that optimistic. I've actually prepared a checklist that we're giving to all the teachers and the parents the first week of school.
Vallas's checklist includes well-maintained air-conditioned classrooms, modern textbooks, low student-to-teacher ratios, revamped curriculum and frequent testing to measure student improvement, hot lunches and functioning bathrooms, and technology in every classroom, including free laptops for every high school student.
For those of you that had the chance to walk around the school, I want you to note that we have had a bombardment of technology in the classrooms.
At Rob Wayne High School, Principal Adrienne L. Boyd is carefully monitoring Vallas's checklist.
As an educator for the past 14 years, I've heard it all. I've heard promises being made and nothing being a result. Superintendent Vallas is promoting technology in the classrooms. It's here. He's saying every classroom will be painted before students actually come into the school. That is being done. He really has come in with everything that he's promised.
Rob Wayne teachers were also keeping tabs.
But I still have 3 windows that are broken, but the school has put that on like their hot list. It should be replaced by September 4th when school starts. So I'm fully confident that they will be, because everything that has been told to me so far that will be done has been done.
I'm skeptical.
Amanda Sias has her doubts, particularly about Vallas's plan to distribute laptops to all high school students.
I mean, I heard him say, you know, every kid is going to get a computer. And I'm like, does he really know what type of kids we're dealing with? Johnny, where's your computer? Oh, I got jacked last night and somebody took my computer. We're going to have to deal with the logistics of it every day, and he won't.
You're saying Paul Vallas is naive?
He's bright-eyed. And I know he's been successful in other places that were failing, but New Orleans, it's a totally different ball game.
I suggested that teacher look for another school district, because that's the exact low expectations that we set for inner city kids. When you raise expectations, people say you're being naive, but it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, the lower performance or the low expectations?
There's a difference between low expectations and reality.
What's the effect, Katie? You're, listen to a skeptic, maybe even a cynic. Is that going to hurt you and your idealism?
I think you just always have to have kind of one foot in an element of just what's realistic, and you have to have the other foot in like what the ideal is and what you want your students to be able to do, where you want them to go.
16 of Rob Wayne's teachers, nearly half the staff, are brand new. Members of groups like Teach NOLA or Teach for America, both Peace Corps-like organizations.
I'm a big fan of the Teach for America program. What they bring to the classroom is continuity mastery, enthusiasm, an unbelievable work ethic, very high expectations for kids, high expectations for success. They really commit themselves and throw themselves into the job.
It excites me. I've actually picked up a lot of energy from Katie and Jake and some of the other teachers I've been working with just before school starts. I mean, I'm fairly young and new as myself, but I've kind of just fed off them a little bit.
But some veterans are betting that the young teachers will not last.
There's a pool going around.
What?
There's a pool.
You're kidding, right?
No. I mean, it's not official, but I mean, it's been talked about. I'm not involved in it yet, but I mean, I want to make some money.
So what are your bets on me?
Oh, you got it. You're here.